The chef from Dream Cuisine is cooking up some European goodness. This meal tastes great each and every time we try it.
Hi, my name is Tom Flynn with H Texas Magazine. And today we're going to be working in the kitchen and we're going to be working on cabbage rolls. Now we recently rediscovered cabbage rolls. We went to the Renaissance Festival. And we had turkey legs in one hand. We've been watching the jousting. And as we walked through the area they called Poland, we wanted another snack. And they were serving cabbage rolls there. And everybody in our group loved them. And so we've been on a quest on how to perfect the cabbage rolls. We made a broth, and it's a pretty simple broth. These are smoked pork hocks. They got bone in, they got some meat attached to them. We used about 3 or 4 pounds of these. We added celery, onion, and a slab of pork salt, and put a little garlic in there and boiled it for about 2.5 hours. And that's going to be the basis of everything we cook with today. So when you're making cabbage rolls, one of the first things you want to get going is the rice. You're going to need the filling later, and it takes about 25 minutes to cook. Now the rice calls for rice and water, but remember in this recipe, everywhere it calls for water, we're going to use stock. So this is the stock we made earlier. It has ham hocks in there, onion, garlic, celery, and just for fun, we even threw some pork salt in there, a slab of pork salt. It's very flavorful stuff. So we got 1 cup of rice. We need 2 cups of the stock. So here's 1, 2. We're going to bring that to a boil, add the rice, and cook it for 20 to 25 minutes. So the next thing we got to do is get our cabbage leaves ready to stuff. Now if you just took out a cabbage leaf, threw some meat in there, and tried to roll it, your cabbage leaf breaks. Not going to work for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to boil our cabbage for a little bit so these leaves soften up. Just get a nice long knife, and you want to cut around the core. And you want to go about halfway through the head of cabbage because that's where that thing's going to finish. And just keep working it, and you'll feel it until the core becomes loose. Keep working it until the core becomes loose. And then it will pop out. All the hot water will be able to get down there at one time, go up the stalks of the leaves, and soften everything up at once. Alright, so we're making cabbage rolls, and our cabbage is going to be rolled around a filling. That filling is very much like meatloaf. And you can use all different kinds of meats. There's beef ones out there. We just happen to be going with pork. So we're going to be using 2 pounds of ground pork. And this is lean ground pork just bought from the local grocery store. We're going to throw those in there. And we're going to be using, to give it spice, because I like to put spice in everything I do, we got a pound of hot pork sausage. We're going to throw that in there. We got some spices. This is paprika. You can get a Hungarian variety. These are Hungarian cabbage rolls. There's also some margarine in there, just like a half teaspoon, and another teaspoon of salt. I'm going to chunk that on top. Then we've got onions. I've got 2 cups of onions, which is like 2 medium onions, and 2 good-sized cloves of garlic. We're going to chunk those in there. We've got our rice that we cooked earlier. Now remember, this is rice that's been cooked in pork stock. And I've got 3 cups, but I'll need about 2 of it, so I'm going to put about 2/3 of this in here. And I got 3 pounds of meat, so I'm going to use 3 eggs. And we're just going to get together, and again, it's just like you're making meatloaf. So wash your hands good, take your wedding ring off, and start mixing this stuff all together till it's one consistent texture. And when it's all, oh, you can smell the flavors coming out of that already. I guess that's the paprika coming up at us. And we're going to mix this together till it's one good consistency, and then we'll stuff this into our cabbage leaves, and then we'll put them in a pot and we'll boil them. Should be tender now. It's been 20 to 25 minutes. We're just going to take the pot over here, And to pull out the hot water, you want a nice long fork. I like a carving fork, works great. And you're just gonna stick it down through where the core used to be. And you're gonna lift it up and let the water drain out. Now you have to be careful because it's extremely hot, boiling hot water here. As this cools, you want to start peeling the leaves off. And the leaves are what we're gonna fill with the meatloaf stuffing, and we'll boil this with the other ingredients to create our cabbage rolls. All right, folks, so far we've done a lot of work. First, we created this awesome filling. And we cooked some rice, and it has pork and pork sausage and onions, that sort of stuff in there. We cooked 3 heads of cabbage and peeled off the better leaves. We have those stacked up over here, and we're gonna stuff those in a minute. We created this really good broth, and it came from ham hocks and pork salt and celery, onions, garlic. It's all coming together now. And it's finally time to assemble our pan and assemble our cabbage rolls. So the first thing we're gonna do is take a good large stock pot, and we want to line it with sauerkraut. Now sauerkraut, you can get it in a can, you can get it in a jar. We tried all kinds. We finally went with boar's head sauerkraut in this plastic pouch. You get it in the deli section at your grocery store. And it has a mild flavor, less sour than others. But you want to go ahead and squeeze the water out of it, and then put a nice layer of it on the bottom of your stock pot. Some of the cabbage that wasn't good leaves, we've chopped up. We're going to add a little bit of that to this same mixture with the sauerkraut. And when we made our broth earlier, I saved the meat out of the ham hocks and the salt pork, just the lean meat. And we're going to throw that in there too, because it's going to provide some extra texture and flavor as people dig through their cabbage rolls. With the pan lined, it's finally time to start stuffing the cabbage rolls. So we've got a nice mixture ready to go into the cabbage leaves. So you're just going to take the cabbage leaf and open it up, and then use a good spoon. This is just a soup spoon. Just scrape out a decent amount of the filling and put it right in the pocket of the cabbage leaf. Then you're gonna flip the top over, flatten it out, flip the ends, and roll it over so you got a nice looking roll. And then we're gonna put this on top of our bed of sauerkraut, ham hocks, and chopped cabbage. And we're gonna repeat this till the bottom layer is filled up. Then we'll add more sauerkraut, chopped cabbage, and ham hocks, and another layer of cabbage rolls. We'll do that until the pot is full. So to make our sauce, we're going to use just tomato sauce. We want 2 cans of this. These are, I believe, 14-ounce cans. And then equal parts of the stock that we made earlier. This is the stuff with the ham hocks and pork salt and onions and all that good stuff. So we're going to need a few of these in there to equal that out. And then you just want to whisk this stuff together. Normal whisk, a nice toss. We're just going to whisk this until it's very consistent. Then we're done with this, we're going to pour this on top of our cabbage rolls. Very simple. So just bring it on over. And it's going to take a while for it to seep down through the layers. But just slowly keep adding it, let it drain. Alright, so we've got everything in the pan now. We've had it on high for a few minutes now, or actually more than a few minutes. And you can see it's finally starting to bubble and boil. This is going to cook for 2.5 hours. So all we're going to do is take a lid, cover up this wonderful mixture. It's pretty full. Turn this down to a low simmer, and it will simmer for 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours, we'll be ready to eat.